Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Wil, where we share international insights, perspectives, and some levity once in a while on things such as leadership and mindset for Monday Mindset, travel and the travel business on Wanderlust Wednesday, and sports on Fanatic Friday. Each episode is about 20 to 30 minutes in length. Please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow us on your favorite platform. We're on all of them. And thanks to Nick Cunard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. We have a really exciting episode today, and my best friend and co-host Nick will introduce Shannon with Cunard here shortly. Let me pass it over to you and introduce Shannon.
Thank you, Wil. Yes, very excited today. We have a special guest with us. So excited to introduce her to all of you. So today we have the business development manager at Cunard Lines. With 17 years of experience at multiple travel agencies and in the luxury cruising space, her expertise and passion for travel is undeniable. She started her career with Liberty Travel, where she quickly advanced from consultant to managing multi-offices in Pennsylvania. She then moved to the supplier side with Inside Vacations, first as district sales manager and later as director, earning the Sales Manager of the Year award. She finally gained valuable experience in luxury cruising with Paul Gauguin Cruises. So it's our pleasure to welcome Shannon McGee. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you having
Absolutely.
me.
No. So we're going to talk the next 20, 25 minutes about your brand that you represent, Cunard. So the first question is really tell us more about your experience in general, and then, how you started with Cunard, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, as you mentioned, luxury travel really is my passion. Doing that selling it on the land side with Insight Vacations and Luxury Gold, and being able to bring those iconic destinations on the land side that way, in the way that we did it with Insight Vacations, which was like the kind of nod to golden age of travel, right? That's what Insight does. And so it plays perfectly into what we do at Cunard. We really represent the golden age of travel, right? I mean, think about it, 180 years of history behind the brand with White Star and then Cunard. And it's so funny because every time I tell someone where I work now, they all have a connection to the brand. I was in an elevator in New York City. I was doing some events in New York City in December, and I was with two gentlemen. We started talking about I was there for work, and they were like, so what do you do? Who do you work for? And I said, I work for Cunard. And they were like, oh my gosh, we were on the Queen Mary too on the first year, she did her transatlantic voyages. So everyone has a connection to it. And I think it's really great for me to be able to represent this kind of luxury brand with such deep history and roots. And I love cruising. I've been on, I can't tell you how many number of cruises, and I'm sure you guys are the same. But I love cruising. And so it's luxury cruising is just the best.
Fantastic. No, thank you for that. So we're excited definitely to learn more a little bit about Cunard. So you mentioned the Transatlantic already, at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the experience I have with Cunard, with some of my clients who they will not use anyone else for any Transatlantic. They love it. Can you tell us more about the kind of demographic you have on Cunard, and, what is the brand more towards for, what they're attracted for?
So it's funny because we were the first transatlantic cruisers, and we're still the only, ocean liner that does transatlantic specifically. I mean, that's every year. That's what we do with the Queen Mary too. So we do it well. When I was in New York, we won the award for best transatlantic crossing at the Reader's Choice Award. So, it's definitely on people's bucket list. The other thing I think about when I think about transatlantic is why torture yourself with an airplane, right? It's so much less expensive than business class seats on an airplane, and you get to arrive to Europe in rested fashion. You're doing that hour every day instead of all at once. So I think it's pretty incredible way to kick off your European vacation, maybe. But so Transatlantic is really a very important piece for us. And, our ship, Queen Mary 2, again, like I said, was built for that. Demographic wise, we're about a 50 plus age group, typically. Obviously, the longer the sailing, the higher the age group, because they have more time than us working still to do, our world cruises. And, we were the first to do a world cruise as well. But they have more time. So I'd say around a 50 plus. But another hint for you, or another bit of history, because there's so much with Cunard, is we were the first line to do a children's program. You might not ever think of Cunard and children's program together, but we still do it, and we were the first. So, we get those families. Really, what's been happening is, you're 40-something, you're 30-something professionals, people maybe who don't get to go on multiple vacations per year want to do it right. And so we get a lot of that as well. Oh, and think about people who enjoy that kind of gala, those gala evenings, or they maybe like to get dressed up once or twice during a sailing experience. Those are the type of people who like the fanfare. Like every evening we've just celebrated New Year's Eve. Every evening is New Year's Eve, or at least 2 or 3 evenings per cruise are New Year's Eve. So it's those kind of people. So I guess maybe age isn't. We shouldn't really pigeonhole ourselves into an age, but really a feeling or how you like to travel.
Yeah. Anytime you say it's an experience like New Year's Eve, I'm in. Like, to give me
with the champagne.
No, that's true. So you mentioned Queen Mary 2. Can you give us a little more information about how many ships maybe you have, and then are they all the same but different name, or they're all different, so our audience know a little bit more about the kind of ships you have?
Of course. So we have our 4 queens. So we have Queen Mary 2. We have Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria, and our newest addition to the fleet is Queen Anne. And so Queen Anne just kicked off last year. And actually, she's making her way to North America now, where she'll start in New York and then do her world cruise, go down to Miami, and then over to San Francisco. So yeah, they're not all the same. Queen Mary 2 was specifically built for that transatlantic, the fortified hull and all of those things that come along with crossing that, Northern Atlantic waterway. And then our Queen Elizabeth and our Queen Victoria, those are 2 very similar ships. You'll find some little bit of differences, size-wise, number of passengers, the different areas on the ship, those are all the same. And then Queen Anne is new. So we've taken all of those iconic features of the queens that we had and kind of given it a bit of a boost into 2025, right? So you're going to get all the things you love, but it's a little bit more. The sailing schedule. So what's really exciting for us, and it's going to be exciting for you because you're in Florida, is our Queen Elizabeth is going to be doing North America or US. So she will be based in the US for this whole year after she comes back from Japan. So starting in May, doing the Alaska sailing, and then in September, October, moving from Alaska through the Panama Canal, and then in Miami. And she'll be in Miami from October through 2026. So that's really exciting that we have a ship based here in the U.S. And then as far as Queen Anne, Queen Mary 2 will be doing her transatlantics and, some Europe and some Caribbean as well. Queen Anne will do the world and then come back around to Europe. And then Queen Victoria will be in Europe, Northern Europe, Mediterranean. For the next season.
Fantastic. No, I love that. That's a variety. And then the ships are not all the same. And then you go everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Something else that I should have said that I'm thinking about is, so ships that are the same size as the ships that we have as our queens will put more people in them. So we take out some of the staterooms, make more common areas. There's a lot more space on a Cunard ship than you'll find on any other ship. We put fewer passengers. So the Queen Victoria and the Queen Elizabeth, those can fit 3,000 people, and other cruise lines would put 3,000 people in. We do just over 2,000. 2081. So you'll never have a problem getting a seat in the buffet, for example, or a seat at the pool. And that's really important for Queen Elizabeth, right? When she's in the Caribbean, you don't want to have to hustle to get your space on the sea day at the pool. So that's really important. You will find that common theme through our ships is the more space. And also at least two staff to every one guest on board. So a high touch service.
Wow, sure. That's very interesting. About destination. So you touched base that you guys go everywhere. You have the world tour and things like that. But what would you say is a top 2-3 destination where your travelers, your sailors are going to the most?
Yeah, so I think Alaska. I mean, Alaska is always super hot with our market in the U.S. And so I think Alaska and just the way that we do it, and we actually spend more time in the destinations, and we go to different fjords than some other cruise lines, and we try to get there or make the schedule work so that we're in port with maybe one smaller ship and not all the large ships. And then, of course, the Caribbean, right in our backyard. So that's amazing that we have that Caribbean to be able to sell. And the Mediterranean. So all those Mediterranean trips, it's always a little bit different, right? So each ship might do a little bit different port. And then we're also trying to always go to the smaller ports or get into the smaller areas where maybe you're not going to have, 3-4 other ships. Of course, we'll go to the iconic cities that everybody wants to visit, but we want to get people off the beaten path as well.
No, it's great. I love that. So there's a lot of variety. So that's fantastic. When it comes to, as we know, people who spend more time on the ship, the Transatlantic or the world tour and things like that, those are people who like more luxurious time on the ship. Like, what about the food? Because I heard a lot of things. First of all, I'm a foodie, but I heard a lot of positive things from the clients who sailed with you guys about the food. Can you give us a little bit more information about what the expectation is and the experience would be food-wise?
Yeah, I mean, amazing culinary experiences for sure. And also, the destination sometimes dictates the experience. So, for example, in Alaska, the tea, we have a high tea every day on all ships. So you get that lovely tea experience. But in Alaska, the tea is Alaskan tea, and then some of the little canapes are Alaska themed or Alaska ingredients. So, bringing that destination into the culinary experience. So, the main dining rooms are depending on, so this is kind of another, misconception. Sometimes you hear about Cunard is that it's a class system, right? And so that is not true at all. We basically are a ship within a ship concept, which every cruise line now has. But we've always had our grill suites. So the Princess Grill and the Queen's Grill suites will dine in their restaurants. So the Queen's Grill will dine in the Queen's Grill restaurants. The Princess Grill suites will dine in the Princess Grill restaurants. And then the Britannia, which is everyone else, will dine in the Britannia restaurant. And so that dining experience is a little bit different in each restaurant. But it's still an event every evening. I mean, whereas other cruise lines may be taking things away from guests, having a smaller menu, maybe not doing an escargot, or, there are some things where some of those cruise lines are cutting things. We are not. So, you'll still have that amazing dining experience. 24-hour room service in all categories included. So there's no additional charge for room service. There is a buffet, of course. So if guests don't feel like eating in the main the restaurant, they can go to the buffet and experience that. And then we do have some alternate dining experiences. One that's really fun that I love is the Golden Lion Pub, and that's on every ship. And so it's a pub experience, an England pub experience where they have darts, and you have for lunch and dinner, you can have shepherd's pie or, fish and chips and a pint. And so a quiz kind of thing or karaoke. So that's a really cool experience as far as dining goes. So yeah, and like I said, we'd like to bring in those local experiences. You'll find on Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth, we have some pop-up restaurants. So like around the buffet, which the buffet is included, and then that you might have a pop-up restaurant depending on where you are. Like if you're in the Caribbean, maybe you'll have like a Caribbean pop-up kind of restaurant. So tons of food all the time available and very good and plentiful, I guess I should say.
You make me hungry.
I know.
No, it sounds lovely. And I have to say, the feedback I get from clients sailing with you guys is always, I never hear anything negative about it. So that's always something good as a travel agent, to make sure everybody have like good feedback after this.
Yes.
And usually what I realize is when people are leaving with you guys, they always want to stay with you guys. So you don't have a lot of people so far that goes with you and then want to experience something different. They like to stay. So it's usually something that speaks volume to me. So that's good.
Yeah. We call them our Cunarders.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the people who travel with us over and over again. And I think you're exactly right. I mean, think about the way you traveled when you first started traveling. You don't travel like that anymore, right? Maybe it was your outside cabin and now you're in a balcony. Maybe you started in a balcony and now you're in a suite. Everyone's always, moving up, let's say, right? And so I think that some of those people who are doing kind of a mass market, maybe a princess or a celebrity, now are looking for the next thing, and that's us, right? We're the next step.
That's awesome. About the packages. So how does it work with you? Because it's usually a question we receive, like like what's included? Like is it just a cruise fare? So can you tell the audience a little bit what availabilities they have in packages? So is it like a basic package and then you have an all-inclusive kind of package, or how does it work with Cunard?
So in kind of just your cruise fare, what will be included, all food, and as I mentioned, 24-hour room service. Something that we do that many other lines are now taking out is 2 times service a day in your stateroom. You have your morning service, you have your turn down service with your chocolate on your pillow, right? So that's all included, which, until I wasn't getting it, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but I was on another cruise last year and I was like, wow. You get escorted to your room by the bellhop. You have half a bottle of champagne, or a bottle of champagne, depending on the stateroom that you're in, as a welcome in your stateroom. Wi-Fi is not included, but can be purchased on the ship or ahead of time as a complete package for the whole trip or daily. That's Starlink.
Okay.
And then you can add on a drinks package, and there are many. So depending on what or how you drink, you can just get a beer package, you can get a wine package, you can get everything. You could get just, some specialty coffee beverages. So there are a bunch of those. It's called The World of Drinks by Cunard, and you can find those. I'm sure you guys can help your clients look through some of that. So you can add some of those things on. So really, those are the additional. Oh, and your service charges, right? You can add those on ahead of time, but those would be your service charge for your hotel, your cabin stored, and your staff in the dining room. So, I mean, if you didn't want to spend another $1, you wouldn't have to, right? Even you could sit in your room and have room service all the time.
What an experience.
And then when you are in the Queen's grill, or you're in one of the grill suites, Princess Grill and Queen's Grill, most of those fares will include service charges, will include drinks, alcoholic beverages and non-alcoholic beverages. So that you can upgrade that right away and have that all included and get those Princess Grills, like a mini suite, let's say, and then a Queen's Grill is going to be like a full suite. Queen's Grill does come with butler service. Princess Grill comes with concierge service. So you get those added extra amenities, and there are just 2 areas in the ship that aren't available to the rest of the ship, that are just available to the grill suite passengers, would be the restaurant, and then there's a outdoor terrace area, but everything else is available to everyone.
Wow. No, that sounds lovely. That sounds really lovely. And I like the fact that there are like packages for everybody, like so you can choose what
right.
you want. Even the suite, you have like the first step suite point Z point 5, and then you have the main suite, the suite. I like that. So tell us a little bit more about the activities on the ship. So based on the demographic you mentioned, what can be the expectation of anyone sailing for the first time with Cunard in the evening? So what kind of activities are on the ship? Like, what's the expectation?
So we have probably the biggest ballroom or dance floor at sea. I think we do have the biggest, right? And they're sprung, so you have that. So if you really are a true ballroom dancer, it's pretty amazing. I guess I'm not amazing.
I am.
But it would be amazing to watch, right? And so there's these 2-level Queen's room. So this gorgeous room where people are dancing, and you can watch from the upper level or you can watch from the lower level. And so that's usually what happens every evening there. And then I mentioned the gala evening. So people might be dressed up in black and white, or they're red and gold, depending on the evening. And so just this beautiful setting with people dancing. You have Broadway style shows, West End theater type shows, Broadway type shows on every sailing. You have lecturers, and maybe not just someone who might just know about a field. If you're talking about like space, it would be an astronaut or somebody who worked at NASA. It's not, somebody who studied in that field. So these are the kind of, we call them Cunard insights. And so you'll get these type of speakers. And you're exactly right. We do build in those longer sailings with more sea time so that we can have people do as much enrichment as they want, or relax as much as they want, right? So you'll find painting classes, wine. You can actually take a wine course on some sailings. And then you'll have, movies and other kind of things on board. So there's always something for everyone to do. There's a full service spa with a hydrotherapy rooms on all of our ships. So, if you want to relax that way, Queen Mary has the retractable roof so they can still enjoy the pool and the outdoors. And biggest libraries at sea, right? Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria have a 2-level library. They do a book club on board, or there's sometimes authors that are there speaking. And then we do event voyages. So they're I think it's in the fall, there's a fashion cruise, a transatlantic fashion cruise. So, you'll find that everyone is there for that kind of experience. So a lot going on, as much as they want to do, or as little, of course, as they
So
want
you
to do.
won't get bored on board of Cunard. So that's the message.
Well, the other thing, like you mentioned Transatlantic and showing up in Europe rested, but if you went for the fashion, now you can have all the suitcaces you want. You don't have to worry about it like an airplane.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Then you have to come back with the ship.
Right. No extra charges.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and something else I forgot is the kennels, right? Isn't that a cool thing that we have the kennels on board that have the cat and dog kennels? And it's really pretty neat experience to you can't really go in there, but you can, walk past and take a peek in at the dogs and cats in the kennels. So we're the only cruise line that has
that's a neat fun fact. And sometimes there was times where I'd wish they had that when I went on a cruise with my kids, but but that is really nice. That's awesome.
Fantastic. Well, I think that it gives a lot of people like including myself, like the willingness to try out like Cunard very soon. So thank you for your time here. But is there anything else that we didn't ask you that you would like to share with the audience about Cunard?
I don't think so. I mean, I just want for your clients to check with you for the best available pricing and the best available amenities that you can offer them, after they listen to this, because you have certain things that you can offer them that no one else can, and in the way of shipboard credits and things like that. So, I just want people to reach out to you and do that. And I think, you'll be surprised of the pricing as well. I mean, you're getting everything that I told you for the price that you might get for a mass market kind of cruise. And so why not try the next level with Cunard instead of, doing something you might have done over and over again. And you'll be surprised that it's not that much more expensive.
I have to attest of this. The last two clients who booked like a couple of months ago for Transatlantic from New York to Southampton, I was shocked actually with the pricing. I'm like, what? This is. I was not expecting that, and in positive way. It was, I think it's 6-7 nights. I forgot exactly, or 8 nights, but it was literally mind blowing for the experience on the ship. Of course, people who work maybe will not have the ability to spend that many days just to cross the Atlantic. But for people who can, that's definitely way better than to take a flight for any kind of business premier class, for sure. But even normal, I think, because with the experience you have, the food included, some drinks, and then the experience of ballet at night and others. So I really, really was absolutely impressed by the price for that kind of quality of ship. So
yes, for sure. And so when you're thinking about your fall trips coming up this year, the Caribbean, 9 nights, 12 nights, or 21 if you want to do east and west together. So right from your back door, I know your clients are probably from all over the country, but from your back door, you could hop on a Cunard ship and hit the Caribbean when it's cold.
Yeah, because you mentioned the fact that you have also like Miami to West Coast, right? You have like going to Panama Canal, I assume.
Yeah, so Queen Elizabeth will be doing her repositioning from Alaska down to the Caribbean, and so she'll go from Seattle through the Panama Canal and to Miami. That's like I think it's like a 26-day or so, but yeah, I mean that would be really cool as well.
Absolutely. And Starlink. I mean, every time I hear Starlink now with the new the ships, that's something that's important because if you need, if you're not 100% retired and you still have some work to do, well, every Starlink is a huge benefit compared to those who don't have Starlink.
Yes, for sure. I mean, there are people who are still working who travel with us, and maybe you don't have to work the whole time, but you can, while you're there, you can confidently say, I can work for a few days while I'm on this trip. I know no one wants to, but we all have to usually.
No, absolutely. It's true. No, this has been fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you so very much, Shannon, again for spending some time here with us for our audience as well. And anybody who have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Happy to answer any question. If I don't have the answer, I mean, I have Shannon in my close by that I can always ask for more information as well. So we are in good hands, and don't hesitate to let us know. We'd love to, for many of the audience, to experience Cunard as well.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Guys. Have a great rest of the week. Appreciate you.
Thanks, you too. Take care. Bye.
So thanks, winners, for joining today, and thanks to Shannon with Cunard for sharing all the great things around luxury travel with Cunard. That Intercontinental has really got me thinking about some things, although they have a lot of great destinations that you can go to and have an experience, and want to thank her. Please be sure to check the description and take advantage of the incentives they have to offer by contacting Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations to get that, who also sponsor today's episode. So thank you for that. So that'll wrap up today's episode. Please be sure to join us Friday for Fanatic Friday. And in the meantime, make your next dream vacation a reality, winners who are joining us on today's Wanderlust Wednesday. And take advantage of an experience that'll be memorable for the rest of your life. In the meantime, take care and be well. We'll see you.